Today, we'll sit down with the biggest name in all of sports card content. We're going to ask Geoff Wilson how he built his massive media empire and what's next for sports card investors. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cards and Content. A lot to get into on today's episode. It is Black Friday week, so that means mayhem and craziness is about to ensue. Not only here in Columbus, but just in, the entire market in general. This is a start of a very busy period in the space. This is one of the best, times of the year in terms of sales volume. So we're going to get into that. And I have an idea, I have a take I want to, kind of put out in the open and, see what you guys think. But we do have some stuff this week for rivalry week in college football. We'll get into that on Stock Watch with our guy Gabe Card Stacks. Obviously, a big one for, me and some of the Ohio State fans here in Columbus. So important weekend ahead. And then we're going to talk with one of the biggest names in the entire industry. I would argue the biggest name in content creation in the entire space. What he has built is nothing short of impressive. So we'll sit down with Geoff Wilson and get his takes on the market and things ahead. So excited to talk about so much with Geoff. It was a really good interview, definitely a longer one, but anytime I get an opportunity to talk with someone like Geoff, I certainly just want to take advantage of that moment and just try to uncover as much as I can. Just love learning, and I think Geoff is someone I have been able to learn a lot from. So that is upcoming. But first, I want to start with this idea, right? The one thing on my mind today is the holiday time, right? I'm basically saying Black Friday through the end of the year, the holiday period. Like, it really starts at Black Friday. It's like really right around the beginning of December. It's post Thanksgiving. It's Christmas is on the horizon, 30 days away. Is this time of year the time where the most new collectors are brought into the hobby? Think about these time periods throughout the year and say, what could bring the most amount of people into the space? What the holidays, you have so many things that are holiday driven, right? You've got advent calendars, you've got holiday tins, you've got holiday mega boxes, you've got products that are specific to this time of year. Doesn't really happen a lot of other times throughout the year. There's not, I can't think of any time where it's as specific to, one particular holiday and a lot of product around it. You also, again, Black Friday, biggest shopping day of the year. You also have companies and brands that have deals and promotions and opportunities to buy. And, you look at subscriptions to grading companies and, pricing tools and scanning software and, just so many opportunities to save money and get subscriptions and give those as gifts. I look at this time as, is this the most opportune time for new collectors to get into hobby? I think the one opportunity you could say that rivals this rivalry weekend, perfect timing here. I think the one opportunity that would rival this is show season, is really Fanatics Fest and the National. Next year, they're going to be 7 days apart. So think of the amount of content and engagement and focus on the hobby in a 3-week period. It will be astronomical. There'll be content before it. There'll be content after it. But really, the 1 week of Fanatics Fest, 4 days of Fanatics Fest, the week following, and then the 7 days of the National, 5 days, whatever it is, that 3-week stretch, I think with the amount of attention the hobby produces from a content perspective, athlete engagement, Topps really leading the way with content there. You get it from all of these other card companies, card brands, content creators. Those are the biggest weeks of the year for us for content creation. That the National has always been our biggest year. Fanatics Fest definitely has given us some great content opportunities in the past couple of years, but for the majority of the time we've done content creation, the National is bar none the biggest week of the year. It's crazy for our numbers. So I look at those as an opportunity for more eyes to get into the market. But I think of those time periods as an opportunity for people to see it, not necessarily to get in it and get, trying to think of the right word here, get some kind of like tangible product from it. Like if you see it during the busy National Fanatics Fest period, are you likely to buy as much as you are to get it, a subscription to Market Movers or Card Ladder, or a, favorite, one of your favorite content creators hoodies as a gift, or a holiday tin or an advent calendar? I still think this is the most opportune time of the year for new collectors to enter the hobby. So what a cool opportunity the next 6 weeks are. Because there's a good chance a lot of new collectors will be joining this space this time of year, and I think that's pretty cool. So let me know in the comments if that's something you agree, disagree with. Definitely curious to get some folks' takes on that. Speaking of Black Friday, speaking of the biggest shopping day of the year, I thought this would be cool to kind of list 5 gifts every card collector needs, right? So we get asked a lot, what should I buy my significant other? What should I buy my friend? He's a card collector. What should I buy them? And we figured, what better time to tell you about 5 things to buy for a card collector than right now. So again, this list is probably going to be more broad, right? Like this is to get a gift for the masses, not necessarily someone that likes these specific schools or this specific player. Again, that's a little bit, trickier. So this is more broad card collector. The first one, the label printer. This is something, again, I will always go to bat for the Dymo label printer and the efficiency that brings to someone that is trying to grow their online selling card business. Obviously, shows are great, but a lot of transactions happen digitally, so that requires some sort of shipping. The thermal label printers make this far easier to ship out cards. Give me the Dymo label printer as gift number 1. Gift number 2, right on that online selling being a big part of the business, give me 500 bulk bubble mailers. This is something you can buy on Amazon. This is something you can buy on eBay. You can buy this a lot of places online, and it is not very expensive. Buying in bulk and bubble mailers is way better than walking in your local Staples, Walmart, Target, Meijer, Wegmans. I'm trying to think of some of the non-Midwestern retail stores, and buying a pack of 6 or 10 bubble mailers for $5 to $10. Like it's far cheaper. You're gonna continue to ship over the next year, assuming you're gonna stay in the space. It makes more sense to buy those in bulk, one purchase. You can buy tape, you can buy a lot of things, but the tape thing is not necessarily needed if you're buying the gift number 1, the Dymo the thermal label printer. So number 2, 500 bulk bubble mailers. Give me that. Number 3, we talk about, again, online. Comping cards. There's so many different places to comp cards now. There's so many places to sell cards. So I look at this as when you're at a show, when you're trying to grow, you need more access to data outside of the standard 90-day refresher that eBay offers. I know eBay is a little bit more into that space now and developing, some scanning software and such, but as someone that doesn't use that a lot myself, I lean a lot more into Market Movers and Card Ladder. The 2 biggest subscription pricing tools on the market. I'm giving a gift for a year subscription to one of those 2. I think this is super important to be able to comp cards real time at shows, and as I was getting more involved in the space and trying to comp more and try to learn, it's helpful to have access to longer term data rather than just something from, the last 3 months or so. And I think being able to, get a better understanding of the market and sales history is important. So give me the subscription to either Market Movers or Card Ladder. I think that would be a win. Fourth one. Give me a Zion case, right? We talk about going to shows. We talk about, growing the business, really trying to build a resale business and build a career in cards. That's really my target here. You got to have the best case on the market, right? They're durable. They have a lot of different options, whether you want a book bag, whether you want a handheld, 2-row or 3-row, whether you want a titanium or a Goliath case to roll, whether you want a 3-row with your favorite local, baseball or basketball or football team on it. The Zion case is, it's the standard. It's the best of the best in the sports card market. Shameless plug, Card Collector 2 at checkout saves you 10% off that gift. Again, if I can save you money, I certainly will. Card Collector 2 at checkout, zioncases.com. That's the best case in the market. Fifth, final, entry point for a lot of collectors is either a show or a card shop, and I will die on that hill forever. I think the card shop is many folks' first entry point into the hobby. Get them a gift card to their favorite local card store. There's, lot of great options here. Like, you can buy obviously digital gift cards, but I think the in-person experience, support your local card store. I think that is an important entry point into the hobby, and I think if you can get a collector a gift card to go browse, shop, and support their local card store, I'm definitely doing that. So 5 gifts we can give a collector this time of year. Let me know. What do you agree? What would you add to the list? Again, without getting too specific, this has got to be as broad as possible. Like, if somebody is interested in content creation, I would tell you some kind of like phone stand you can take to a card show, or they love a specific team or player, cards or singles. But again, I think without getting too specific, I think those would be the 5 gifts I would buy. A gift I couldn't afford to buy, but incredible sale recently. The Green Kaboom Tom Brady, $660,000. I think if my numbers is correct here, $660,000 sale. Fanatics Premier just recently sold in a PSA 8. Couple things. We've been talking about it for a while now. The GOAT market is just on fire. It's been on fire for a while. But to have a Tom Brady sale like this, for the Green Kaboom, the Green Kaboom sale, that market's on fire. This card actually previously sold. So you say, GOAT market's been hot before, it's sold. The GOAT market's always been safe, great. It peaked during COVID. Whatever road whatever path you want to go down there. This card sold during COVID. It sold in early 2022. So the market was booming in 2022. This card actually sold for $188,000 on Golden in February of 2022. That card's up 3x, over 3x in a 3.5 year period. That's an incredible ROI, but it just speaks so much to this insert. The Green Kaboom is really, out of all of them, it is the modern day insert right now. I'm very, very curious to see what Topps can produce. I think they've put a lot of effort into, trying to dethrone that. And I think you're only going to see more and more. I will argue until the sun comes up that the debut patch auto is the single greatest modern day trading card ever created. I will never argue differently. But there's no arguing the Green Kaboom market is on fire. We picked up a couple of these earlier in the year. Just understanding that I think this is a long-term play. I think the Green Kaboom is a fun one. I own a few of them myself, and I anticipate that this market will continue to rise. Panini is a couple months away from losing the NFL license. That means no more licensed Kabooms or licensed, case hits. And the supply you have now is the supply you're going to have for this foreseeable future. And I just think the best insert right now of a modern day player in the short term is the Green Kaboom, then the Gold Kaboom, then the base Kaboom. I realize they have purple this year, which are I think short printed to 2 in first off the line. But the Kaboom market is clearly on fire, and it's being led by a $660,000 Tom Brady sale in the last 7 days over on Fanatics Premier. So an incredible sale for the market right now. And it's funny, we searched Green Kaboom, and the second highest sale ever on a Green Kaboom sold 2 months ago. And it was a Caitlin Clark Green Kaboom BGS 10 for $341,000. So prior sale, the third spot was the Brady previously. So clearly a lot of attention on these inserts now, and inserts have clearly grown into something really, really big in the market now. I know it was big in the 90s, right? The insert Jordan 10 market is through the roof, but clearly inserts are a big part of the market now, and that Brady sale is definitely proof of that. So I'll stop talking for a minute. We've got a big time interview, one I've been waiting for some time, and very grateful that Geoff gave us so much time during the Dallas Card Show, and we got to sit down with him there. So let's kick it over to our interview with Geoff Wilson, sports card investor himself. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode, Cards and Content, with a very special guest. The man beside me, the single biggest name in the sports card industry. I will go on record and say that. Someone I've also become friends with over the last couple years, learned a lot from, really taken some great advice from, and someone I consider a friend. So, Geoff, first and foremost, thank you for being here, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to diving in, and I'm happy that the advice you've taken from me is some business advice and not me telling you to buy Will Greer cards 6 years ago. I'm glad you didn't listen to that advice. That was bad advice.
That is true. I did not listen to that advice, but you have given plenty of advice that I have definitely taken to heart.
Good. So appreciate that. For good or for bad, yeah, that's good.
Mostly good. But for anyone that might be living under a rock and maybe who doesn't know about you or your story, let me start there. I always start the pod with that, with who you are and how you got right here.
Yeah, well, the story's evolved, which is fun, right? I mean, it's like the story started with me getting back into it in 2018 because my older son, Reeve, started to show a little bit of interest in cards. And of course, I did all this when I was a kid. So he's getting into it. I'm starting to get way back into it again, fall back in love with it, love the whole thing, see opportunity. Because as you know, you've been around for a while. A lot longer than I have in the industry as of late. And there was not much there in 2018 in terms of either like technology. I know we'll talk a little bit about like market movers and comps, and that stuff didn't exist back in 2018. And content. Like you were blazing trails on Instagram with doing sports card content, which very few people were. But like YouTube was pretty barren. Like you had some breakers on there doing stuff, but there wasn't a lot of content. There especially wasn't not card show vlogs like there are today. Not like debate shows about cards or whatever, or top five, or it was barren. So there was the opportunity, and so I started with that. Sports Card Investor obviously started that in summer 2019. And then Market Movers in February of 2020 being the first product of its kind, like the very first system, the first product ever that would allow you to chart a card or to, look up comps across multiple marketplaces like that and do that type of thing. And that was fun and exciting. And obviously we added more to it throughout the years. And then 2024 came Cards HQ. So that's kind of been the new part of the journey. And then of course there's, little things in there like launching into breaking and launching Graded Grails or repack. But throughout it all, like we're, first of all, always trying to innovate. We're second of all, always trying to bring that innovation to the hobby to make the collecting experience better, to make the hobby better.
Yep.
People don't always agree with what I say. People don't always like me. But I mean, as you know, if you read, anything on social media or YouTube comments or whatever, but I look at it, I'm like, you know what? Not everybody's going to like me. Not everyone's going to agree with what I say. That's okay. But I hope they ultimately end up appreciating what my team and I bring to the hobby. Because what we're trying to bring to the hobby is best in class, world-class card shops that eventually there will be hopefully many of, not just in Atlanta.
Yep.
That will be the future story, right? We're also trying to bring best in class data and transparency around comps. We're trying to bring content. We're trying to bring entertainment. We're trying to bring education. We're trying to expose people to collectors and collections and help new collectors through all these various things that we're doing. Bring engaging social media that people like to follow and keeping people up to date and apprised of everything that's going on. We're trying so many different things to make everyone's listening's experience of experiencing the hobby better in some way.
Yep.
And I hope that over time, like as we get 20 years out from now, 30 years out from now, that everybody in the community will in some way have been touched in a positive manner by something that we brought to the table, whether it's the content or Cards HQ or, interacting with our products, selling cards to us, buying cards from us, whatever it may be, and whatever new innovations come along down the road. Because we're constantly going to be trying to push the envelope, innovate, bring new things to the collector experience.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are really leading the way, and we're going to get into so much of this here in this podcast. I don't know of many in the industry that are doing that kind of, just different big time things. Like you said, I mean, market movers, Cards HQ. I want to talk about graded grails in a second. Like, you obviously have, your podcast, you have Sports Card Investor. Like, you guys just have so much stuff going on. I do want to start a little bit more from the beginning, right? You said in 2018, you get on YouTube. Talk me through some of those like early days, right? Because you have, I don't know the number. I'm going to guess north of 100 people under the businesses you currently own. It wasn't like that 7 years ago, right? You started in your videos, your Florida Gators stuff in the background. Like, I can picture the setup now.
Yes, that's right.
You started there. So how did we get from there to like, what were some of the early days like in the content for you that took you to where you are now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So 130 people. We have 130 employees. 130 employees, which I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of that. I'm most proud of, when you grow a company, you grow a team, like the fact that it's not just you, it's all of them, and it's their lives and what they're able to build both professionally and personally because of the company. That's super cool. So that's awesome. That's an awesome accomplishment. I'm super proud of that. But yes, it all started with none of that because I didn't hire my first employee until 2 months after Market Movers launched in 2020, until April of 2020 during the pandemic. It was the first time I hired anybody.
Wow.
So the first several months were just me. I had like one contractor helping me out with videos, like starting the beginning of 2020. But yeah, the first several months were literally an iPad on an iPad stand with a $20 mic I bought on Amazon and two $20 lights I bought on Amazon and in my basement. And that was the entirety of everything. And I did all of the editing myself on iMovie on my Mac. That was it. It was literally iPad, couple of lights. It was like it was a repurposed iPad. It was like one of my kids' iPads. I'm like putting my kid's iPad on a stand, lights, mic, all cheap stuff, iMovie, editing these videos. And that's why if you go back and look at my early videos, like the production quality is horrible. They're also like, there's nothing to them. There's like no changes of scene or anything. It's like me sitting in my basement talking to a camera.
Yep.
And the visuals, like when I was talking about card prices, I would import, because back then there was no Market Movers. So I'd had to go to eBay and look at sold items. So if I wanted to show, because I was showing in my videos, I'm like, look at how Anthony Davis's cards have changed over the last year. Look at how, whoever, like all these different players back then who were trending up or down. I would go to eBay and do, sold items and take that info from eBay. I had these like little software tools that I found that would like extract the data from the page and put it into a spreadsheet in a somewhat automated manner, although you were still doing a lot of copying and pasting. Then I would build an Excel graph. Wow. And then I would screenshot the Excel graph, and then I would put that into like a Keynote deck. And then I would I would put the Keynote deck out to like a PDF. And then that was like my graphic. And I would like go through my Keynote deck to like show like different charts. It would take me hours. If I wanted to show you 10 cards, I wanted to show you what Giannis's cards have done, in the last 3 months and what LeBron's cards have done and what Mahomes' cards have done. I would have to, it would take hours of going to eBay, extracting the data, building the chart, screenshotting it, just for me to show that during my video and talk about it. So each of these videos took hours and hours to put together, which I got so frustrated with it. That's why I built Market Movers, because I'm like, man, like there's got to be a product that's going to like show a chart of what a card has done in price. But yeah, it was just me and just my passion for doing it, my willingness to put in the time and the hours when nobody was watching the show. Because my first video I ever put out got 120 views, and that was only because I posted it to my personal Facebook, and I had like 90 friends and family members like watch the video and, oh, great job, Geoff. You're
really going for it.
Aunt Bertha's like, that's awesome. It's like none of it, it was a fake 120 views because it was all friends and family. And then my next video I put out got like 29 views or something like that, like within its first like week, because all my friends and family weren't going to commit to video 2. Yeah.
We're good for 1.
They watched video 1. I put out video 2. They're like, ah. So it was 29 views, right? Yeah, but that's how it started. And that was, and that was okay, because I was so passionate about it and just wanting to do it and willing to do it and wanting to grow it into something, of course, having no idea that it was ever going to grow, to what it is now.
Yeah. I want to point out something you said earlier, because I think it's, the cool part about your story where you talk about like you're up to 130 now. I think the one thing I've admired about you is, you talk a lot about the team. I think the cool thing for you guys though, especially, Brian and I've been in Atlanta, like we've known you guys for a while. I think the really cool thing is like you have a lot of the people that were there in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Charles and Kelly are 2 that stand out. Like, we have known them since the first Culture Collision show. Like, I know we filmed some content down there. We did a video with Lamar Odom at Topgolf.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
So we've been down there. But I think that's what's really cool is, I always say it's like, it's fun to build it. It's even more fun to build it with people you really care about. Yeah. I give a lot of kudos to that is, you've built something incredible, and you've also done it with people that have been there since the very, very beginning.
Yeah, it's very special. It's like you and Brian here behind the camera. Yeah. He's been here, for doing all this stuff for you for a long time. That is very special. Having a team that, is with you and is alongside you. It's every bit as much their victory as it is mine.
Sure.
That we've grown to the size we have. Charles, Kelly, Teapot, who people see on the cameras. He's been around, they were all from 2020. We've got another guy, Parker, who's more behind the scenes, but occasionally shows up. He's been there since 2020. So like they've all been there through it. Like it's, back when we were nothing.
Yeah.
Back when so it's fun to have that and to, carry on that journey with them.
Yep. Now you mentioned, you said build it into what it's built. Like it's obviously huge now. At what point along the way, as you're creating content, you're starting to build Market Movers, at what point along the way do you really look at the Sports Card Investor, YouTube page and be like, all right, we might be on to something here? Was there a point you look back on as like, that was that moment?
It was, so the first thing, like the early big break that I got was, we were about 5 videos in. And 4 or 5 videos in, and I went to the National in 2019. And by the way, my videos had no views. Like that first one, as I mentioned, had like 100 something. I don't know that any of my other like 3 or 4 videos I'd put out were over 100 views at that point. Like the channel had no traction.
Yep.
It was brand new. Go to the National, and it's in Chicago. 2019 National was my first National. No one was vlogging it. That wasn't a thing. No one's vlogging.
That was the first one we did.
Yeah.
Yep, same one.
Yeah. So it was like, this was like a new experience.
Yep.
So the first day of the National, I set up, like it was just me. Once again, I didn't have anyone with me. I didn't have a team anyway.
Yep.
It was just me. And I couldn't even get anyone to go with me. Like my wife, my wife went to the show for like a minute, and she's like, what is this flea market that you are in right now? And of course, the 2019 National was much more rough around the edges than the National is today. It's a little more corporate and, flashy and showy today.
Yep.
Not so much in 2019. And so it was just me, but I brought a little tripod with me. I had my phone, and I had a little mic, which actually had a cord, because I didn't want to pay for a wireless thing. So I literally set it up on the Wednesday the first day of the National on the corner of the show floor, and I held my little mic and I'm like, hey, I'm at the National and here's what happened today. And I talked about that was the year that Gary Vee gave like the opening talk, like a little before the National Open. Him and Josh Luber went on stage and they did a thing. So I talked about that. And I'd taken some like little video clips with my phone. And so I kind of edited those in so you could see a little bit of the National. But that was it. I did like a little, I don't know, it was like, I'm not even sure. It was less than 10-minute little report from the National. But I was like, you know what? I filmed it on the Wednesday because I'm like, I wonder if I'll get any traction by putting out a video about the National during the National. Because as far as I could tell, no one in history had ever done that before. You know, there were a few videos. If you put a National, you could find a few videos over the years, but like I don't think any of them were released during the National.
Yep.
So I'm like, I want to put a video out about the National during the National. So I filmed this thing Wednesday night. I went back to my hotel room. I put the footage on my computer. I edited an iMovie. And I don't remember if I posted it late Wednesday night or like early Thursday morning, but I put it out early in the National. And that was the only thing I put out. I didn't do like multiple videos. I just did that one. But it got like 2,000 views. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's 20 times more than any of my other videos have gotten. It got 2,000 views. I was like, that's super cool. And then that got me a new group of subscribers, which I didn't have. But people actually saw my channel for the first time. So then I started putting out videos after the National. And then those videos were getting 1,000 views, 1,500 views, 2,000 views. I'm like, oh, this is cool, right? It no longer 30 views, right? And so that moment, I was like, oh, if I could start to kind of build on this. And I remember my wife and I had this trip in, this would have been like around September, on the beginning of September, late August, around beginning of September. So like a month after the National. And we were going to Europe for like 10 days or 12 days. And I said to my wife, I'm like, I can't not post while we were in Europe. I've got to do a video or two because I've got momentum. And so I can't just go dark for 2 weeks on my channel. Like I can't. So I literally did, they're funny. They're still, all this stuff is still on the channel if you go back to oldest stuff. So I literally went to the hotel business office and did this video about like Prism Silvers and their prices and everything. And it was like such awful lighting. The whole thing was horrible. But I also, while I was there, I went around searching for sports cards, which I didn't find any in Dublin. I was in Dublin at the time. And so I did like a little thing. I found a few TCG shops. So I had like a couple of clips of like what TCG shops were like on and I referenced that. And so, but I got that out and like it went out and people watched it. And so I was so excited at the time and the early results were good. And so, you know, that all felt really good. I think when we got to 10,000 subscribers, which we got to later that year, that was like a pretty big milestone.
Yep.
And that was kind of like, oh, I think things are happening here. Yeah. And that was kind of when I started building Market Movers. Because then I'm like, okay, I need this product for myself so I can do more episodes more efficiently. But I bet a lot of people in my audience would like this as well. Because they're watching my episodes wanting to see the charts and graphs because they can't get them on their own.
Yep.
So what if I could give them a product that allowed them to see their own charts and graphs and like of whatever card they wanted to do, you know, which of course, any card they wanted to do when I first launched. So Market Movers launched in February 2020. When I first launched Market Movers, its total card database was 600 cards that you could, you know, look up. So yes, your choice of one of 600 cards, you could chart and graph that card. Today, for reference, we have over 6 million that we track.
Holy cow.
Compared to 600 that we started with.
That's crazy.
But that was another huge day. When we launched Market Movers in February 2020, that was a huge moment because that was going to be like the proof point as to whether like people really cared about, were they willing to put down their credit card and buy this product that I was now saying, hey, I brought this to market.
Yep.
And a lot of people did. And I remember I made not a bet, but I told my friends that I got this friend group that we go to March Madness every year. And so all my friends knew that I was launching this product because I was talking all the time about this stuff. They probably wanted me to shut up. And so I said, okay, so this is February 12th. We launched Market Movers. And I said, hey guys, we're all going to March Madness in Vegas together the third week of March. I said, if I can get 500 people to pay for the product, I'm going to buy everybody a steak dinner. And I said, truthfully, I don't think there's any chance that's going to happen. So if we get 100 people to pay for the product, I'll buy everybody dessert. We got 100 people the night we launched, and we had 500 people, I think, by the end of the first week. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. So, you know, that's like, so that like, that sticks out to me as well. So all those things were like kind of little moments. It wasn't like, I wouldn't say there was any like one crazy moment, but these little moments that like give you that little reinforcement. And then you just have a lot of them kind of adding up, and it just kind of builds to momentum.
Yeah, that's it seems like it's been forever, but like in the grand scheme of things, like to build what you've built in 5 years at this point is it's crazy to you know, look back on. I mean, it's such a different time too. Like, you know, 2019 Nationals was the first one I ever filmed at. Brian joined, what was it, May of 21? Yeah, May of 21. So like Brian had joined shortly after, but like the 2019 National, like, you know, that was one of the things I talked about was there wasn't a lot of people doing that kind of stuff, like negotiating, like wheeling and dealing at a show. It wasn't really a thing. I remember Var, who's a card collector, he was filming for me at the National, and I was like so nervous someone was going to get mad I was filming, because it wasn't like,
it was so uncommon.
It was so
no
uncommon.
one was doing it.
I would have him like hide on the other side, like across the way he'd be filming. So like you couldn't see the dealers. Like I don't want to like upset any dealer. So it was like filming like super discreetly. So it's interesting to see, you know, how far that world has come now. Like now it's a lot more like everybody has a phone, everybody has a video. It's a lot more like, you know,
you walk into the card show now, and like half the dealers have those little Osmo cameras like clipped to the side of their, you know, dealer table. They're all doing content. Which is great to see. That's wonderful. Sure. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the you know, the goal is to, you know, put more eyes and attention on the space, and ultimately I think, you know, the big thing for me for sure was like showing like the younger generation, like, again, it wasn't a thing when I was a kid. I've done this since 2006. I was 16, you know, 15 years old. Like I wanted to see what it was like when I was a kid. Like, and I think that's the big thing now is like there's a lot more access to the space through that content. So
that's helped grow it.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly that's helped grow it. Undoubtedly, all that video. I want to make one point before we move on. So that story about the National, you were just talking about like you being there, like there being no cameras, you having some, you know, you having deals filmed and the whole thing. That was 6 years ago, right? Yeah. And I want people to think about like this. I don't want to go with Gary V here on the audience, but I'm going to get Gary V for a second. You can change your entire life in 5 years.
Yep, for sure.
Or less. You're literally, the trajectory of your entire life can change. I mean, like Sports Card Investor went from nothing, zero, zilch, nada in 2019 to where it is today in 2025. We're talking 6 years.
Yep.
My life has changed.
Yeah,
and you know,
sure.
I was doing a lot of cool professional stuff before that as well. But like my whole trajectory of like, you know, I was never in 2019, if you had walked up to me and said, in 2025, you'll have this crazy card shop. You'll be trying to open up more of those crazy card shops. You'll have, you know, over 400,000 subs on YouTube, all this stuff. I would have been like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no, none of that doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
What are you talking about?
Yep.
But that wasn't that long ago. Like things things can change so quickly
in
anybody's life if you commit yourself to it and you go after it. And that doesn't, like, I also recognize I got lucky. I had good fortune. My timing was incredible.
Yeah.
And that was lucky.
Yep.
Like I got lucky. I got in at the right time.
Yep, sure.
It would be a lot harder to do today, the same path, 100% for sure. But that doesn't mean that there's not a path that people can't do or figure out. It's just, you apply yourself, you work hard, you hustle, you try, and you can change your life in a relatively short period of time in the grand scheme of things.
I couldn't agree more with that. You know, shout out Gary V. He was instrumental in me, and you know, I talk a lot about like his content was kind of what pushed me over the edge to quit my job. But you know, you mentioned a couple things there around, you know, the subs, and you guys have produced so much content. You've had some big videos, some stuff that goes super viral. If somebody was starting out today and was looking to, be the next sports card investor and, create content, what do you think some of the most important things are now for creating content, that you see?
So the key is stand next to someone. You wear a shirt that says 6, put a shirt that says 7 on them, and then have a conversation about PSA upcharges.
Yeah.
If you do that in combination, you will set the entire internet on fire all at one time, and it will be great. And you'll just get a zillion engagements. It'll be fantastic. No, probably.
You know anybody that's done that?
What's that?
You know anybody
No,
that's
I don't
done
know
that?
anyone who's done that. I don't know anyone who does. Someone should try it. It'd be a great thing to someone to try. How would you start? So how would you start now? How would you, so you got to find what makes you unique. Like you got to find your thing that like is going to help you stand out from the crowd and be a little different from everybody else. When I started, that was easy because there wasn't anybody talking about like dollars and cents of cards and investing in cards and any of that stuff on YouTube back in 2019. And there was just not that much content in general. So it was easier to stand out. Today, it's a lot harder. Today, there's a lot more channels out there. So you got to figure out kind of what your unique voice is, like what you're bringing to the table that's unique and different. And there's always opportunities to do that. I mean, I remember when Sasha T. Remember Sasha T?
Oh, yeah.
So we were sitting, we had the run with Sports Card Investor. We had a lot of this growth during the pandemic and everything, but we were doing entirely like studio shows. And we were growing and we were happy and everything's great. Then all of a sudden in like late 2020, early 2021, there's this guy that starts popping into all my YouTube things, Sasha T. And he's at card shows. He's at the Dallas card show because it was the only one operating because Texas was doing crazy stuff.
That's a whole other conversation for another day about Dallas.
Texas was doing stuff during the pandemic. No one else was, but there was card show here. And he was at the card show and doing these big deals and vlogging it and putting these things out. His videos started to go bananas. They started to go nuts. Everybody started watching Sasha T. Yeah. And I'm sitting on my studio. And at this point, I've got a handful of employees, not a ton, but we got a group and we're all watching this. We're like, ooh, this guy's gaining tons of traction, all kinds of stuff. His stuff's going wild. And so we're like, we got to figure out a way to get a card shows. Like we got to start doing some of this stuff. But he created like this, little carved out thing during that time when people weren't doing it. I don't know. Were you in hiatus at that moment as well with card shows?
No, I don't. I also don't think we were buying the stuff that Sasha was buying.
He was buying crazy stuff.
We were here when he bought the Charizard.
Right.
And there was a swarm. So he was where Alt is set up now.
Yeah.
He was right there buying that card. And I probably saw the pictures or the videos on my phone from somewhere.
It went nuts.
There were people everywhere. I mean, Dallas is packed now. Dallas was different during like peak COVID. There's never been anything like that.
It was the only show in town. Yep. It was the only show literally in any town. It was the only show. So that was insane. So like, that was just kind of uniqueness, right? That he did that. I mean, recently you've had King of Cards who's taken off, right? And he's done it entirely on these short form social reels with this back and forth interaction across the dealer table. It's worked really well for him. It's like very formulaic, but also very like people like the format. Obviously they love the format of that and they get used to it. And then they, continue to watch it whenever he puts one out. So like, and he kind of came out of the blue here over the last, couple of years, right? So there's those opportunities still to this day, but you got to kind of find that thing that works and you got to experiment, you got to experiment a lot. It could be humor. It could be, it could be deal making. It could be opinion pieces. It could be, unfortunately, it could be negativity, which we also see. That's very effective.
Yeah.
You see content creators pop up and get super, super popular on the back of negativity, right? And that's their thing. Like, I'm going to be the negative, like, I don't even know if Howard Stern's the right analogy, but whatever, the shock jock, talking bad about everybody and shocking people and, having crazy YouTube time. And then that, that works. So 100%. Whatever it is, it's like, you kind of got to pick the thing, figure it out, do something different, do something unique. And then, and if it doesn't work, then try something different and find that element for yourself. That's what I would suggest.
Yep. Yeah. I love it. Great advice. You're you start Market Movers, YouTube is growing, things are going great. What made you want to open a card store?
It was always in the back of our minds, the idea of like, okay, we've got this cool content brand and we got like a digital brand, we got like these apps, but like, what's the physical? Like, what's the experience to actually like bring that and connect that to people?
Yep.
And then also we do all this content about cards, and we have these apps that talk about cards, but like, or, transaction, like they show data, but we're not actually in the business. We weren't in the business of the actual commerce of cards ourselves, like the buying and selling of cards and sealed product. So I'm like, at some point we need to get into that business, like actually be in it, like a dealer in it. And I want to bring it to life for people. And so that's kind of how the card shop idea was there. And it was there for a while, but I also knew that that's a very different business, as you know, like being a content creator is great and wonderful. Running a card shop, it's got its own uniqueness and its own set of challenges. And you've done a wonderful, masterful job of like doing both. I said, I think I need a partner or partners on the card shop side. Like I was like, operationally, I need to bring in somebody who has strong dealer experience and connections. That wasn't me. I didn't have that. I had been around card shows enough. I'd vlogged and done enough buying for my personal collection to understand it and know that world. But I didn't have the relationships with Topps. I didn't have the relationships with Panini. I hadn't cut my teeth as a dealer on the card show circuit.
Yep.
I didn't have relationships with other dealers to that extent. And I'm like, I need a partner who is those things. So it's one of those things. It's like, lean into what you're good at, and then hire people and let them lean into what they're good at.
Yep.
And so it was in the back of my mind for a few years. I want to do a card shop, but it was when I met Carter and Ryan and got talking to them that it was like, okay, these are the guys. And if I can get these guys, if I can partner with these guys and they can operationally run the business and I can oversee, but also concentrate on the content, the marketing, the promotion, all that could be a dynamite combination. And so that's how it came to be.
And you guys opened 2023?
We opened the beginning, early 2024. So like February 1st, 24 is our
'Cause
official.
I think we were there.
Yeah, you guys came to the opening.
You guys had like a big event,
Yep.
trade night.
Yep. You guys were there. Yeah, right when we opened. It was the Culture Collision show in
That's
January,
right. Yeah.
late January 24. That's when we kind of had our opening kickoff, preview night. That was like a preview night for the store.
Yep.
We weren't officially open, but we had everybody
That's
over
right.
for the trade
That's
night.
right.
Yep.
All right. So you've been open 18 months?
18 months.
18 months now.
A little bit over.
Almost 2 years.
20 months, 21 months,
22
something like
months,
that.
right?
22 months.
January. It's almost
22 months.
We're in
Time's
November.
flying by.
We're in November.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
We'll say almost 2 years.
So almost 2 years in, what do you think's been the biggest surprise to you with, the retail brick and mortar?
Well, honestly, I have been shocked by the amount of business we have done in the retail brick and mortar. We've had a ton of people from Atlanta, obviously in the shop all the time, buying, selling, all that thing. And then we've had people travel in, they're passing through Atlanta, they're going to Florida on vacation or whatever, or maybe they're in for a conference or they're in for a baseball team tournament, kids, and they want to all go to the shop. And so they come in. So we've had the retail element's been really strong. When we first planned out Cards HQ, we were really assuming retail was going to be decent.
Yeah.
But we were like, first and foremost, it's going to be about breaking, live selling, e-commerce, because that we can scale.
Yep.
And the content can, people watching the content in Idaho or, Alaska or wherever, they can still interact with us via, website, breaking, live selling, even if they may not make it for the physical shop. So I wasn't necessarily expecting the physical shop to itself like just have this crazy amount of collector, interest and everything like that, but it really has. So that's been awesome. And that's why I want to open up more.
Yep. If
you had asked me before I opened up Cards HQ, are you going to open up more of these in other cities? My answer to you would have been probably not. Maybe that would be cool someday, But that's not the focus. The focus was expand digitally, expand breaking, expand e-com.
Yep.
But now the focus is it's still those things, but the focus is especially expand retail into other cities because the retail side of it's gone really well. So I'd say that's been a surprise. The amount of passion around TCG, because we do a lot of TCG too.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it, even though we don't really cover that in our content.
Yeah.
Although we did just launch Poke HQ.
Wow.
Go check it out.
Very cool.
Do you know how many? We put the first video out, actually, as of we're filming this.
Really?
Yeah, the first video is me trying to navigate around a Pokemon show. The first video, Poke HQ YouTube channel, the first video ever for Poke HQ went out yesterday as of filming of this. No, I take it back 2 days ago. Went out 2 days ago as of the filming of this. And I checked on my way here, it has 89 views. So it is just like the first video ever for Sports Card Investor. We're starting over, Ryan. We are starting over from scratch.
Can't wait to have
see if we can do it again.
Can't wait to have a convo in 6 years.
It's not quite from scratch because we took over an existing YouTube account. And so it actually has some subscribers, but mainly just through short form, not through long form. This is the first long form video that's ever gotten out on it. So it's gonna still take a very long time to build.
That's awesome.
So it's basically from scratch. Yes, Poke HQ now live, but yeah, Pokemon TCGs has surprised me. And then of course there's a million operational things that are like more challenging than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
Like tracking inventory,
Yep.
cash flow, managing cash flow.
Yep.
Oh my God. When these big orders come in from
Yeah.
Tops and you got like 4 big releases to pay for all in the same month or same week or whatever.
We've done episodes about that. That's, I think last time we did an episode, somebody said that we were broke.
Oh, they did. They
did.
did.
Yeah. We said, cash flow.
That's right.
Because we talk about that a lot. Like, I think that's something I think the question was around like surprises for like running the business or a shop or something. And that's one thing I said is like the cash flow piece.
Yep.
Like I don't think people that aren't in the shop, owning your own business space understand the cash flow of this business outside of like going to a Dallas and like the travel and the expenses and buying the inventory. I'm talking about like when 5 releases drop in the same week. And it's not $500. It's it's very substantial amounts of money.
Yeah. And all your money's tied up in that inventory.
Yep. And you've got to then move that, and then next week there's more product coming out. So yeah, I think that is definitely one thing that surprises a lot of people. I know it surprised me, like especially with growing, like when you go from like 3 boxes to 3 cases, and then you those build from there. It can shock you a couple times. So. But while we're on the topic of like starting new things, with the shop, earlier this year, you launched Graded Grails right before the National.
Yes.
PSA certified repack, first one ever. Obviously, this is a big piece of the future of the hobby, the repack business. I would say right now it's one of the hot topics in the industry. It's here to stay. Most big companies seem to be in it. Arena Club, PSA, you get on the list, and it's a big deal.
It's big business.
Why start that? And I guess, how has it been in 4 months?
So much like when we did Cards HQ, I said I wanted to do something different, bigger, better, grander, different than what most other card shops have done. Like, let's put our own spin on a card shop and have a really big format, a big retail floor, interactive elements, breaking taking place right on the edge of the show floor, like these various things, the studio right there that make Cards HQ very unique. When we started talking about we should do our own repack, we should get into the repack business, I said, well, how are we going to make this unique? How are we going to do this bigger, better, different, more unique, and add value to the collector? Like, how can we do something that is better for the collector than what anybody else in the space is doing? And my team and I said, you need a certified repack, that a third party, a trusted third party, is certifying that this thing is completely transparent, completely fair, that every card that you say is in the checklist for the product actually made it in the product, all the hits are actually in the product, and that the whole thing is sealed and put together by a third party so that we don't know what card is in what box within our own repack. no one knows that because my team doesn't do it.
Yep.
And I said, this would be a better model for repacks because unfortunately, a lot of repacks are shady. And so that was the conclusion we came up with. That's how we do it different and better and make it better for the collector by doing that. And so then we said, okay, well, who's the third party? Who would certify this? A bank, an accounting firm, who would certify this?
Yep.
And we said, well, how about the biggest company in the industry that's responsible for certifying things as authentic?
Yeah.
PSA. So we went to PSA and we pitched the idea and PSA liked it. We had multiple conversations with them and they got on board and they said, yeah, this seems like this would be good for the industry and potentially a new business line for PSA to do this with other people. Yep. So they're like, let's do it. And so we said, wonderful. So I said, my only request is we want to be the first. I said, you can do repack certification for other people. Go work with her, but we get a launch first. Creative Grails gets to be the world's first PSA certified repack because I said, I think this could change the industry. I think this could be something new and different that then causes people to start to think like, oh, maybe I should be buying certified repacks because I know they're honest, fair, and transparent, and not every repack is. Yep. So we come out with this at the National. Now, at the time we came out with it, I made a big deal about it. I went on social media. I said, this is going to change the hobby forever. And it was 99% people saying, you've lost your mind. You're crazy. This is just another repack product. What are you hyping up? This is ridiculous. This was overblown. That was just 99% of the comments were that. Nothing but that. Nothing but that. I said, okay, fine. So we'll talk about that in the future. We'll see where we're at. We'll see where we're at down the road. And sure enough, Whatnot, a few months later, decides that they're going to require anyone doing repacks on Whatnot to have those repacks be third-party certified. They've got to come from a certified thing. They got to be third-party audited. They got to be randomly packed. They got to have a checklist that's audited and that's transparent. All the things that the PSA certified repack, Graded Grails was, Whatnot is now officially, as of actually earlier this week, as of the filming, officially in place, required of every seller on Whatnot. To which I celebrated and I was like, look at that. And to my team, I was very happy with my team. I said, look, we truly did something here. And Whatnot said they had been thinking about it for a long time. They said they started thinking about this back in January before we came out with our product. But us coming out with our product obviously spurred things along. Like that, obviously, they may have been thinking about it for a long time, but then we come out with the thing. And so then they decide, that as part of their thinking process, they decide they're changing the rules. And I'm like, I think it's great because it's going to be much better for the industry. Much better for the industry that when sellers go on Whatnot and they are selling repacks, that the audience that is buying into it is getting a fair shake. They know what they're getting into. They're getting the same chance as everybody else buying into that to get the big card. And oh yeah, the big card's actually in the product. And oh yeah, the entire checklist is actually posted and fully transparent so they can follow along and know what their odds are of getting the big card they want. So that's what I think. That's great. I think it's great that the industry now, at least on Whatnot, is changing in that direction. I think a lot of breakers probably don't feel it's great because they now are having to go through the extra hoops of getting certified and all this stuff and the cost. And yeah, PSA charges money to do the entire thing and whatever. So it's less convenient than being able to put together your own mystery bag product in the back room and go sell it on Whatnot. But I think it's a lot better for the consumer. Yeah, so I'm happy the changes get made.
Yeah, definitely better for the end consumer. Again, certainly an additional expense for a breaker and whoever's creating the repack, especially at such tight margins now. Like it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of space plays out. Yeah. But it, as you sit here today, thoughts on like the repacks? If we sit here from a year from now, bigger in the industry, still around, still growing, still a big part.
I mean, for us, we're seeing it as increasing business opportunity. Like we're doing more with it. I mean, especially now, right? Yep. Because now there's not nearly as many repackers that are able to put their things on Whatnot. So we're at the moment like ramping up, production of our repacks and, or like, hey, we got these PSA certified repacks, I don't know, like the industry overall, I think there's still a lot of growth. Some people may say repacks are becoming oversaturated. And, certainly as you said, like, You've got now like PSA and GameStop partnering together to do their own digital repack, and they're jumping in, and there's a lot of stuff happening in this space. Will repacks remain as popular long-term as they are right now? I don't totally know, but I think they will certainly always remain a thing.
Yep.
And I think there's always room for them and need for them in the space. I think they deliver something that manufactured product can't deliver, which is a different, like, you know, the ability to get something different, something established, something graded, something right out of the box, right? And so it's just a different thing. And I think it's a nice mix to have it in the industry with everything else.
Yeah, we'll see. I really think that's going to be one of the hot topics over the next 12 to 18 months is repacks. I think they've kind of taken off over the last 12 months, and especially with Panini going away, it's, you know, from a football and basketball perspective, it's going to be interesting. That whole world is such a big part of the market now. There's a lot of money in this room and like in this show from the repack space.
It is fueling a lot of the card economy right now.
For sure. Yeah, are we
gonna have a card collector 2 repack?
Man, yeah, we've talked about it for a while. Like, we have names, like we've worked on design, so I don't want to get too much into it. Like, it's definitely come up, but more of a conversation for another day. Hopefully,
the number of Ohio State football players in that product is just going to make me sick.
We honestly could just make an Ohio State one.
I can't even buy it. I won't even be able to buy it.
Maybe we can put some like national championship
Ohio
cards
State
in there.
player after Ohio State player. I'm just be like, what is this repack? This is what are all these players?
Yeah, we could call it like the national championship box. Like,
Ryan, I don't need my 18th Justin Fields RPA in a row. We're good on Justin Fields, Ryan. We're good on Justin Fields.
Listen. All right. Well, you are so ingrained in the market. We talk about repacks being a big change. I mentioned Panini's going away. We're not far from Topps owning so much of this space. The football license is coming in early 2026. If we were to sit here in a year from now and talk about the market, what are your thoughts going into the next year, knowing what's coming? More basketball product. We're going to get into football. You have Fanatics Fest and the National.
Yeah, back to back.
7 days apart from each other.
That I'm not so excited about.
So that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But if we sit here and we look a year out, market's on fire. COVID type numbers right now.
Yeah.
Again, like, the market's in a good spot now, but change is coming. We sit here a year from now. What do you think your thoughts are?
Yeah. So will the market remain as hot as it is today? I'm not sure. This has been a great year for the market. You've seen a ton of card prices go up, especially the right cards have gone up.
Yep.
Like, the stuff that's gone up is like the GOATs and the rarer cards and the high grade cards, the stuff that should be going crazy, from your Ken Griffey Juniors to your Jordans and your Kobe's and all that stuff. That's the stuff that's done really well this year. And that should be the stuff that does really well. So I do think that part of it has actually been healthy. Whereas if you think back to the COVID days, it was Zion Williamson and John Morant that were doing really well. Yeah. You know, like cards like that were exploding. Now it's like Steph Curry's exploding. Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Well, I'm cool with Steph Curry exploding. You know, it's a little tougher when Zion Williamson is
maybe
exploding.
A little less Sekou Demboya.
Yeah, exactly.
Steph
yeah,
Curry.
But we don't need any more bull, like, you know, quadrupling in price overnight. Like, let's Steph Curry. Okay, we can do that. Will the market remain as hot in future years as it has this year? Probably not. I mean, it can't be. It's been a very good year. A lot of prices have really gone up a lot. That pattern can't continue forever. So the market may cool down a little bit. But the flip side is, I think that Fanatics and Topps getting the basketball license and the football license are a huge deal. Because if you go back to 2022, when Fanatics took Topps over and then took over the baseball license, and if you look at the sales volume of baseball cards and how those have increased substantially. I mean, there are multiples of more baseball card, you know, being sold today than there was, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. Baseball cards have gone through huge growth under Fanatics and Topps, under Topps leadership since they have been owned by Fanatics.
Yep.
Why? Well, because they made a lot of really smart product and, you know, improvements, putting a lot of big chase cards in those products, from MLB debut patches to all kinds of, you know, hype around different players and different things going on.
Game used jerseys.
Game used jerseys. They've upgraded a lot of the products. They made them a lot smarter. They made them a lot more purposeful, just a lot better configurations of the products. They made a lot of product improvement, and they made tremendous marketing improvement, like tremendous improvement, engaging the athletes with the product, promoting the product, the association with Major League Baseball, all of that stuff. You're seeing like they truly kind of made sports cards cool again amongst like the athletes and all that kind of stuff, right? They did that in baseball. The opportunity for them to do that in basketball and football are actually bigger because basketball is global. And football is the number one sport by far in the US. So if they can run their baseball playbook and all the social media engagement they were able to get and all this, and they're able to apply that same playbook and do similar things with the NBA and the NFL, I think it's going to be even bigger. So even if the market cools a little bit, because you got Fanatics coming in with all that momentum with those new sports that are coming online, I feel like that's going to offset any type of market slowdown. And so I think we're going to have a lot of growth the next few years. I think it's going to be a very exciting time.
I think that's a really good way to look at it. I think the demand for the industry is going to continue to grow. You know, you talk about the baseball thing. And you really look at like who's super marketable in the baseball world. Well, one particular player stands out incredible just for the fact that he's won so many awards. He's won World Series rings. He also has a major international following. You get into football and basketball, think of all of the players. I just look at the marketability of those two sports. And look at, like you said, what Topps has done with baseball. Debut patch auto, I think I've brought it up in every single episode of Cards and Content we've ever recorded, that I believe that is the single greatest trading card any athlete could ever have. I would argue that there's no better trading card any athlete could have. Debut, on-card auto, game-used patch, doesn't get better. Doesn't. Like, I will argue, because if that player wins 10 Super Bowls, the best card that will exist of them is from the first game. I would argue that one means more. That's a huge innovation. The buyback. The buyback brings people, again, like I think the concern, one of the concerns when Topps took over was, you know, Fanatics model is very direct to consumer. You don't need the card store. They're going to sell all online. You're not going to need to go to your hobby shop. Topps said, here's a buyback program. We're going to give you $20 for Topps Chrome base cards of the MVP to go and trade in your local hobby shop. $20 for, I mean, you go back 5 years, you weren't getting $20. I mean, maybe during COVID, you might have got $20 for base cards. But before that, you're not getting $20 for base cards, right? So they've done that. They've done Hobby Rip Night. They had Fanatics Fest. They've done so much in a short period of time with a growing license base. But now you're going to get, I would argue, the two biggest trading card assets in the United States, the basketball license and then the football license, with what they've already done with a market that's at where it's at. Some of the singles might not continue to go up in perpetuity. Like that's not unrealistic. But if what they've done in baseball and these other licenses they've taken over is any indication of what is coming for football, I feel like we'll sit here in a year from now and things will look pretty good.
I'm excited. How much do you think if Ohtani had an MLB debut patch 1 of 1? How much do you think that would be worth today in the market if that were to sell today?
Almost 8 figures.
Yeah, I would guess 8 figures. I think that thing would go north of 10 million. I really do.
I mean, the Jordan, LeBron, that Kevin O'Leary and Shine and that group, I think was 12 million.
12.9 million.
Yeah. So it would rival some of those cards.
I think it would.
Yep.
I think it would. I think it would be in that range.
We talked about this before it had, they had officially talked about the card. Which card will sell for more? The Paul Skeens, we do know Dick's bought it, sold for north of $1 million, or the Cooper Flag?
Cooper Flag. I actually think
I don't think it will be close.
Well, the only caveat I will give is
health.
It also somewhat depends on what Cooper Flag does this year by the time that card comes out, right? Yeah. Like if he started a little slow, he started to pick things up. If assuming he's having a good rookie year and is trending towards winning Rookie of the Year and is healthy, then Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag's my answer.
Yeah, I don't think it will be close.
I agree. I agree because it's
Multiple
basketball.
millions more.
I think it's basketball. Yeah, I think it's going to go for more. I think it will
Yep.
go for more because people are going to see if Cooper Flag truly lives up to his potential and becomes an all-time great, then that's the card.
Yep.
And at that point, like if he truly lives up to his potential and becomes an all-time great, that in the future is absolutely a $10 million plus card. If he's that. So someone can get into it today for $2 million and think that it could be worth $10 million. Sure. People paid, the Luka logo man, one of one, national treasures. I mean, that thing's sold a couple of times for between 3 and 4.5 million.
Yep.
I mean, Luka was a little more established by the time that, hit.
And that's from a random game. Like,
Yeah.
Panini's never stated.
No.
That's from a debut game. Like, that's from the player's first journey
Yep.
into the Hall of Fame, into the GOAT status. Right?
Can you imagine what that chase is going to be like for that Cooper? I mean, when that
Crazy.
product comes out.
Crazy. I mean, Topps basketball is $200+ for a hobby
know.
box. It's
Yeah, it's going to be insane.
a great innovation. Yeah, so I'm excited. All right, we could talk for hours. This has been a lot of fun, and I would love to continue talking. But we talk about a year out for the hobby. But what's a year out for you? What's next for Sports Card Investor, for Cards HQ, Market Movers? What's next?
Man, I really hope we have a couple of Cards HQ stores open in other cities. We're trying hard. It's been a slower process to get that going than I had hoped. We're being really picky with real estate, and we've had some stops and starts with different like real estate locations and that kind of stuff. So we're not nearly as far along as I would like. Certainly not ready to announce cities or anything like that because we're still in early stages. But a year from now, man, I hope we're in a couple of other cities. So that's probably primary goal number one. We're going to launch a massive update of Market Movers in the next couple of months. I think we're going to actually like blow the other apps out of the water. Like I think we're going to really take a massive leap with what Market Movers can do and the user experience. I'm really excited about that. We're, I mentioned the Pokemon channel. We got plans to continue to expand content next year, do even more with content, make next year's national even bigger and crazier. So we're always trying to do like ambitious things and break the records from the year before. Yeah. So hopefully if we sit down to this card show a year from now, all of those things will be true and have happened. So knock on wood that we're all healthy and happy and have had that success over the next year.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. It's it's funny you mentioned the national, and obviously you talked about it earlier, one video and how important it is now, and we've sort of had the conversations. It's going to be a lot different in 2026 with Fanatics Fest being literally, I think you get back on that it ends on that Sunday, the World Cup. I think it's the same day as like the World Cup final, and then you're back Monday and you leave for the national 7 days later. It's going to be a lot interesting. That Fanatics Fest has moved a lot.
Stock up on the Red Bull. Brian behind the camera here, especially you, because you're going to need a lot of that Red Bull and coffee and all that stuff. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy and wild and wacky and fun all at the same time.
Very last question. If you were starting over today, knowing what you know now, content, cards, you name it. If you were starting over today, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Not to buy Will Greer and Lonzo Ball cards. What advice would I give myself if I were starting over today? I would. So this is like me telling myself in 2019 to do something like a little differently than I did.
Yeah, just knowing, you've learned so much building what you've built. I mean, I will argue it's the single biggest entity. I mean, you're the single biggest content creator. Like, you've built a massive brand in the industry. But if you had nothing now and you were starting over fresh, just with the knowledge you have, what would be the first piece of advice you would give yourself?
Ooh, gosh, I don't know. That's a good question. It's hard to so there's definitely things during our journey that I did wrong, that we did wrong. There's definitely things that in retrospect, I would like to have not done or done differently, approach things differently, without a doubt. At the same time, you learn so much from that stuff. Like you can't, it would be hard to impart that wisdom on me just starting over, because me just starting over hasn't had the context to have gone through any of that, or the experience to go through any of that. It's kind of like me telling my kids right now, like, hey kids, like maybe like I argue with my son every night about like going to bed at a reasonable time. And my wife argues with my son every day about like studying and schoolwork. Like it's a constant ongoing daily argument in our house. But like my wife and I have the perspective. We have the experience. We've been through it and we know the right way to do things. My son hasn't experienced any of that yet. And if you don't do it the wrong way, and if you don't like kind of go through that on your own, like it's just kind of noise. Like I don't know. So like that's like, would I go back and tell myself like do these things differently, you know, all this stuff? Sure, absolutely. But like I also learned so much by doing things the wrong way and like doing it. I don't know. I mean, above all, I would probably just tell myself like just do it. Just do it. Just like get out there and do it. Because as I said like earlier, like whatever it is, as I said earlier, like your life can change in all these ways that you just don't even expect and don't even know and can't even foresee. But the most important thing is to do it. Even if you go down the wrong path, even if you get off on the side, you have to course correct, even if you end up with some egg on your face along the way, all of those things will surely happen. But the most important thing is to do it and to start your journey. So that would be it. I would just say to myself then or now or whatever, if I'm starting over, like just go and do it.
Amazing. Well, I can't thank you enough for the time.
It's
Again,
been fun.
The advice, the friendship. It's been a lot of fun and appreciate you, leading the way and again, spending so much time here in Dallas with us. So
thanks for having me on, Ryan.
Thanks again.
Always appreciate it, man. Good to see you.
All right, what's going on, guys? We are back. Another segment here. Stock Watch. We are getting towards the end of the regular season. It is rivalry week. We'll get into that. But first things first. The man, the myth, the legend, Gabe Card Stacks, back in Arizona after a quick trip to the Buckeye State. My friend, welcome. Welcome back. Appreciate you joining us as always.
Yep. Always ready to talk some ball. It was a great weekend. We had a lot of big performances. This was very tough to choose a stock up. I had a lot of trouble. I'm ready to talk stock down, give you a little value bin play. I'm ready for rivalry week. It should be a good one.
A lot to get into. But let's just start right off the rip because I wanna hit a little bit more on rivalry weekend rather than maybe recap the weekend that wasn't a lot of insane games. There was one, I think, ranked matchup. I don't think the Cincinnati one ended up being a ranked matchup. I think it was just Oregon USC. So I'd rather talk more about stock up and then stock down and get into, again, more of the, the weekend that is coming up. So let's start there. I'll start with stock up this week. Let's just get right into it.
Yeah, let's jump right to it. So first one, kid came out of nowhere, Deuce Knight, Auburn quarterback, freshman. He was a 5-star guy.
I was gonna say, out of nowhere is a little preposterous for a 5-star guy. This isn't like a walk-on story. Like this isn't Rudy. This is a 5-star guy at an SEC school. Let's maybe pump the brakes on came out of nowhere.
Okay, all right, fair. But just he's been sitting on the bench all year. Auburn had quarterback struggles. They fired their coach. They just had offensive struggles, elite defense, offensive struggles. And in comes Deuce Knight. He was a 5-star kid, formerly Notre Dame commit. And everyone's just like, oh, what's going on? Jackson Arnold's not great. Ashton Daniels was okay in a couple of games. Deuce Knight, I think he had 5 touchdowns in the first half, 6 total. Busted a big one on his first play, 75 yards. He's onto the scene. They're without a head coach, so it's like, do you love Auburn? Do you go hit the portal? His stuff started to move quite a bit. I bought a couple of stuff. I bought into the hype. I think I'm in. Big lefty kid. I get it. It was I forgot who they played. Mercer. All right.
Ooh,
fine.
Wow, the SEC, man. Working on those tough schedules here late in the season, still in Big Ten play, and you got the SEC just going through Mercer and, some of these, this gauntlet of a schedule. I don't even remember who Auburn or Georgia played, or Auburn or Alabama or Georgia played, but I remember them just being like real tough ones, so.
Yeah. It is Mercer, all right. So we gotta pump the brakes a little, but I think I'm in. I'm just intrigued now. I mean, this guy was sitting on the bench for 11 weeks, and comes out of nowhere, balls out, true freshman. So I'm in on Deuce Knight.
I would love, I wish I would have, again, a little busy. Today's a little bit of a busier day with the holiday coming up, but I would love to understand, I feel like this is the ninth time we've had this conversation on Stock Up where it's like, dude, this guy's awesome. This guy is great. He's awesome. He's so good. And then we look at the schedule and we're like, this guy plays a ranked team this weekend. You're going to learn a lot about the guys you keep putting on Stock Watch this weekend. My guy's got the Iron Bowl, right? Alabama comes to town this weekend. You're going to learn a lot about this guy out of nowhere, this Deuce Knight guy that nobody's ever heard of in the Iron Bowl this weekend. Could be some, Rudy type Disney movie we might write here in, 30 years.
Yeah, no, that's certainly a big test. I'm excited for the Iron Bowl, Alabama, or at least Ty Simpson. People are clowning on him. He threw 2 picks. I think it was Eastern Illinois, I think, that they played. So there's a strong strength of schedule right there. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out this weekend, because this rivalry, you throw everything out the window and whatever happens, happens. So I would love Ty Simpson to clown on them, but I'm intrigued by Deuce Knight.
All right, I love it. Who's the second one?
All right, number 2, my guy Diego Pavia is back in the limelight. He has shot back up the Heisman rankings. We thought the Heisman was over. Now he's back in the mix.
He's not winning the Heisman Trophy. We gotta pump whatever story you're telling yourself. Like, these takes are crazy. This dude is not winning the Heisman Trophy. It's not. He'd be lucky to finish in the top 3.
But they're at Tennessee this weekend. He can finish with a bang. They're number 12 in, I think, the college football playoff poll. Might they sneak into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be, 10, 11, 12? It's going to come down to them, Miami. I mean, Notre Dame's going to be higher than that. Like, you got BYU there, Utah, USC. I mean, USC's got 3 losses. They're probably out. Georgia Tech, your boy Haynes King. Yeah, I mean, especially, if the worst case scenario happens in Ann Arbor, Michigan this weekend, that's another team that's gonna jump up there. I mean, they're currently 18th right now, so if worst comes to worst, they would be in. It's gonna be really, really close. I mean, I think there's a lot of teams right now that have a 90% chance to make it. So, you got to assume at this point the top 9 are locked in. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, all in, all for sure. Ole Miss, Oregon, both 1 loss. They've got to be in for sure. You're not taking 1-loss teams out at this point. Then you got Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama. I mean, Notre Dame's one of the hottest teams in the country. They're, again, they've got to be in. I don't see any way they lose this weekend. Bama, again, I guess if Bama could be out if they lost the Iron Bowl, that could get your boy Pavi in if, like a sacrificial, your Ty Simpson Heisman chances have been out the window for a few weeks now. So I guess Pavia could take those. Yeah, there can't be more than 4 spots really up for grabs. And one of them is a group of 5 lock.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's like, where when you look at the standings, it's like, where do you see an opportunity for somebody to slide? Like, you taking Oregon out of the mix if they lose, Oklahoma out of the mix if they lose. Like, Ohio State's a lock to get in, whether, again, win or lose this weekend. Ohio State's in, Indiana's in, A&M's in, Georgia's in. Like, a lot of these teams, like, half the minimum half are in. It's probably closer to 8 or 9 that are in. Then you're really looking at 3 potential spots for 5 or 6 teams to kind of figure out.
Yeah. No, it's not the brightest looking situation, but 6 touchdowns on Kentucky. He's going crazy. He's shot back. He was probably outside the top 10. Now he's 4th in the Heisman. He could be in New York, but we got to talk about another guy. And
we can get right into it because I have a pretty strong take on this.
Okay, should we go to 3?
Yeah, we'll go to 3. I think this is the one I want to talk about the most.
Okay, so Jeremiah Love. Back a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, he's plus 2,000. Things could get crazy. He's been on a tear. Had 8 carries, 172 yards, 3 touchdowns.
He's not plus 2,000 right now. Let me tell you that. He's not plus 2,000.
Correct. And so I'm all the way in on Jeremiah Love. He is
all the way in.
He is maintaining his draft stock. I've been buying him for the past year. His base autos were $40 a year ago at release, and I was like, man, there's just nobody else in his category to be running back one, and he's maintained that. He's been turning it up this season. They're peaking at the right time. I'm all in on Jeremiah Love. I hope that he has an argument for the Heisman. I was not a Genty guy last year. I thought Cam Skattebo, if anybody, just absolutely carrying Arizona State, should have been more deserving than Genty, but yeah, Jeremiah Love. His autos are like I think 160 on a base
On
auto.
fire.
Yeah, so his market is probably peak right now.
Yeah. I want to preface my statement that I am a firm believer if Ohio State, if Julian Sayin beats Michigan and beats Indiana, Julian Sayin will win the Heisman Trophy. I believe that to be the case. Take one man's opinion for what it's worth. I believe that. If that doesn't happen, I've also placed a small wager on Jeremiah Love to win the Heisman Trophy. I saw this stat on Twitter on Saturday evening that said every 10 years a running back has won the Heisman Trophy. The last one was in 2015 when Derrick Henry won the Heisman Trophy. Jeremiah Love, if you roll the tape from the very beginning of the year, we'd have to go back to preseason talk. We talked about like teams that are going to be up in for contention. Penn State got mentioned. Clemson got mentioned. A lot of those teams got mentioned. I was very, very open that this dude is the closest thing I've seen to Saquon Barkley. He is generational. This dude is elite. He is the best running back in America. It is not close. This dude is awesome. He's amazing. He's going to be a very high pick. He is running back one. Like, this is end of story. Obviously, selfishly, I don't want to play Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is one of the best teams in the country right now, regardless of ranking. Like, I would much rather play some of the teams ahead of them than Notre Dame themselves at 9. This dude's a real deal. He is really, really, really good. He's going to be in New York. He's one of the best college football players in America. Yeah, it's he is the real deal at football.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. And he scored in every single game but one. It was that opening week Miami game, 6 multi-score games. He's number 3 in the country in rushing. And he only had eight carries yet last week, a couple days ago, for 170 plus yards. Granted, it was Syracuse, so Syracuse might not be that much better than Mercer, to be honest. They are awful.
That game was ugly.
Yeah, that was tough. They scored 21 without even having their offense on the field. But yeah, I'm all the way in. Preseason, talking about that, I was like, hey, Clemson, Texas, Notre Dame are like my 3 favorite teams heading into the year. Yep. We know how Clemson and Texas turned out, but Notre Dame, I'm in.
Yeah, and who do they play this weekend?
I don't know.
Do they play?
Stanford.
Oh, Stanford. At Stanford. Interesting. All right. Well, that's stock up, so I guess who's on stock down?
All righty. Stock down. When I was in Ohio, you were like, what's up with why you like this guy? And I'm like, just the transfer portal guy. We'll see what happens. But Bo Prabula comes back from injury. I didn't love the decision because they were saying like, oh, he's questionable. He could come back. First of all, I thought he was out for the year, and they were like, oh, might not come back at all. And then magically he's questionable. I'm a guy that's like, you know what? I don't want you at like 70, 75%. Just rest up. I get it. It was a win now. It would be a big win versus Oklahoma. But late a stinky, 6-17, 2 picks. Just not great. And I don't know if I'm going to be in on the Prabula train. You were like, I was buying for a transfer portal hype. Could be a nice little dual threat play for next year. But he might have still been injured. But I think I'm out on Bo Prabula. His autos have been around $20. I imagine they're going to continue to drop.
Yeah, blue just did 29. And an orange just hit $57. It's funny because I was in Chicago this weekend. Brian and I went out there on Friday and we're filming, and somebody had a blue auto at like 50 and an orange auto at 125. And I'm starting to think like Penn State transfer, like, back in Happy Valley. What's his name? Drinkowitz, like the Missouri coach. I think that's his name. I'm like, okay, yep. Like Ahmad Hardy, like, seniors are coming back, like Penn State's gonna have all this hype again, like here it is again, like should I take a play or should I make a play here? I'm like I don't know, I don't love it, don't love Prabula, like I'm gonna wait. $57 after that. Yikes, thank God I didn't buy that card. He's on stock down. I would have been so disappointed if I went to Chicago and bought that just for you to put him on stock down 3 days later.
Yeah, not good. So yeah, I think I might be out. I get it. He's coming back another year. You don't know what Drinkwitz is gonna do, but I think that might have been the kiss of death for me.
Yikes. All right, who's two?
All right, two. I hate to kick a man while he's down, but I was perusing Twitter and everyone was just down on him, and then I went to go check prices. Kyron Drones, Virginia Tech quarterback. This is a guy 2 years ago that all the statistical nerds like myself, they were like, oh, Virginia returns like 96% of their production. They returned like 22 starters. They only didn't return like their long snapper 2 years ago. They had a disappointing season last year, and then it's like, oh, what did they do this year? They've been disappointing, fired their coach. Just probably down bad. And at one point, like some of it, like his base autos, refractor autos were probably 20, $25 in the offseason. And now, I mean,
A
no
base
NFL
auto from
Outlook.
Bowman's Best, $1.
Yeah, I'm sure like a yellow probably did under $8, I'm sure. Like,
Yeah, I mean there's a couple like Brian, scroll up a little bit. There's a couple like the sales are so hit or miss. The first it's so weird. There's like a first fuchsia at a 150 that just sold a week ago, $2.50. But a green 10, green doesn't usually sell. It's not the best color. In terms of selling, a PSA 10 just did almost $40, and a Bowman's Best jersey out of 99 to 99 did $15. But a refractor auto does $1.80. So those kind of sales are all over there. I actually don't like, from a talent perspective. Again, I don't follow him enough, so I'm not going to sit here and comment on that. But if a green PSA 10 audit is $40, might have some opportunity on like, a gold shimmer auto doing $4.04. I mean, I'm all about the flip life. Like, I'm all about value box plays. It's been a big part of my journey. I just have a hard time believing I can't buy a gold shimmer auto for $4.04 and flip it on ComC for 15. I'm gonna die on that hill. Like, so, shout out to you for kicking a man while he's down. But I look at this and it's like a yellow auto just sold for $10 to 75. 3 days later, a gold shimmer does 404 on bids. Give me the gold shimmer for 404. I'm all about that flip life. That's my I'm gonna be my value box play of the week is one of your your stinkies.
yeah, well, I respect that. I feel like he'd have to pull like who's the Virginia Tech? Oh, you would Logan Thomas, the kid who
Logan Thomas, a little
tight end.
a little tight end, still in the
Yep.
league, I believe.
Really? Wow, that's impressive.
Logan Thomas
So,
left it a while. I think he's on the Commanders. I mean, I know they have Ertz now. Wait, he got cut when that was 2024. Niners tight end, Brian. Looks like he's a tight end for the Niners right now. Has he played in games in 2025? No. Nope, I think he's done.
hmm.
It doesn't look like he's done anything. Last time he played was 2023, it looks like. 2023. Yeah, I mean, my guy had 55 receptions for 500 yards and 4 tutties in 2023. I mean, I think the guy was drafted in 2014. I mean, Logan
Yeah.
Thomas has been in the league a while. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, Brian's pulling up his well, we were trying to get his career stats. I don't think that worked. But yeah, anyways, yeah, shout out
Man.
Logan Thomas.
Yeah, shout out. Wow, crazy. Okay, last one. Another one of my guys that I was always like, keeping a pulse on him. Before the season, McShay was really high on this guy at Manning Passing Academy, and I was like, yo, I feel like he's not on anyone's boards, and maybe he climbs up. But they lose to Arizona. I was happy about that. But Sawyer Robertson, I think he's thrown like 5 or 6 picks in his last few games. His autos have been at like $20 again. Now it's like, do I want to go in on this guy? If they continue to drop, maybe it's really just a draft play. Baylor's been super disappointing. I think they're fighting for bowl eligibility next week. And I feel like Baylor they've just been super disappointing. I feel like I would have had them 9 or 10 wins this season. I don't really know what the issue is. I mean, he leads the Big 12 in passing yards and touchdowns. It's just
That's
the defense.
not bad.
No, but the defense has been a
Passing yards
liability,
and
letting him down.
touchdown.
Builds, not a
I mean,
lot
the
of
guy
hype
can't,
for him.
guy can't play safety and corner.
Correct, yes, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just he might be a buy low for me. Like Perbola, I think I'm out on. Sawyer, I'm like, maybe I'll wait. But you're really just playing for the draft at that point.
Is this a 26 draft or a 27 draft?
26. This is it.
Gotcha. Yeah, you probably have a little bit of time on this, especially if you're talking about a team that's fighting for bowl eligibility here and it's completely out of the the playoff picture. Like he's got a couple sales, like base seem to do somewhere between like 15 and 13 and 20 refractors, $20. Like, but he's also got like greens that have done $46. So I think there's some opportunity, but again, I think this is another video maybe on like the week of the Heisman Trophy ceremony post championship weekend where like we're not far from opportunity to flip on draft day. Like that is coming, right? Like if I will argue forever. I'm not going to argue the talent and like those things. I think he's better than you think. This is one person we probably will always agree on. But if Lenora Sellers goes pro, Lenora Sellers stuff, like he has the size, the speed, the arm talent to be a higher than normal draft pick. Like Zach Wilson was a top 5 pick. Like Mac Jones, Mac Jones wasn't. I mean, what was Mac Jones? First rounder. Like I don't think he was he's not a. I don't think he was a top 10 pick. I'm gonna look this up now because I don't want to bury myself on this. Mac Jones, 15th overall, right? Like, I mean, Mac Jones is probably not terrible this year for the Niners. Like he's helped them win a few games, but like Zach Wilson again, like there's somebody's gonna skyrocket up the draft boards as we get closer. Like when we get to that point, there's gonna be opportunities to buy guys that $5 autos, $10 autos, $20 autos that are gonna sell for 2-3x that price around the draft day. Like, oh, this guy came out of nowhere, he went to a smaller school, he put up crazy numbers, like he's got the size, like he's got the arm strength, he reminds me of Josh Allen. Like somebody has to remind Todd McShay of Josh Allen in this draft. Like somebody has to. He's gonna pick somebody. It might be Drew Aller, it might be Sawyer Robertson, it might be Lenora Sellers. Somebody will remind Todd McShay of Josh Allen. We're going to comp to Joe Burrow. We're going to comp to all these guys. Someone's going to be like, got to get an auto of him for my team. And it is going to happen. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Sawyer Robertson is going to win a Super Bowl or win NFL games or any of those things. But if the opportunity is to buy, to resell, to flip, to build equity in cards, there is going to be an opportunity coming up at some point for some of these quarterbacks, for some of these guys that are going to get drafted. It may not change your life, but to sit here and say that there won't be any opportunity for any quarterback right now that is off of everybody's radar and not in the top 10, not in the top 12 for the playoff, that would be foolish because there is, if you're ahead of it, great. If not, we'll find out soon enough who the opportunity was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who it isn't. It's not Miller Moss. I don't think. A freak accident in the weight room and he was out. Not good. A Stockdown alumni. Yeah.
Yikes. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's been a regular on there.
Yeah. Down bad.
All right. We'll get into Value Box in a second, but obviously you've seen it up close and personal. You came to Columbus, got to witness a game. We, by the time this podcast comes out, we'll be 4 days away, under 4 days from the time this podcast drops until the single most important college football game of a calendar year in my world, and many other Ohio State fans' worlds. I want to get into rivalry weekend, what you're keeping an eye on, thoughts on the big one in Ann Arbor, and just where we stand for the last regular season of weekend of college football in 2025.
Well, to start things with Ohio State, Michigan, I hope Ohio State can get it done this year. I just put Bryce Underwhelmed to bed and just don't even just end the season. Just I'm done with it. Don't care about him. I was asking for a strip sack when we were there versus UCLA. Didn't happen. I'm hoping it comes this weekend. I would love nothing more. Send Sharon Moore packing. See ya. Or keep him there.
Yeah, I hope they give the guy a lifer. I'm very big on that. And I said the same thing about, Jim Harbaugh before he decided, to cheat and, do all those things. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. I think if you ask me, like, how do you feel about it? Like, most of the time I feel pretty good, right? Like, Ohio State is on paper the more talented team. They're one of the best teams in the country. I believe them to be the best team in the country. But you said it earlier, and I think this is important, and we learned this last year. The first year Michigan wasn't really cheating, is rivalry weekend, you throw everything out the window. Rankings don't matter, streaks don't matter, nothing matters. One game matters. Anything can happen in one game at one time, and they proved that last year. They came into Columbus and beat us. Now, do I think Ohio State would have gone on the generational run that they went on to beat Tennessee, Oregon, and Notre Dame to win, a 12-team CFP? No, I'm not sure they would have. Like, that team was insane. But I look at this team now, and do I think, we've talked about this before, do I think this team is as talented, like talent top to bottom? No, I think I said that before. I think schematically, this team is better. I think you look at some of the upgrades. I think Arvell Reese to Cody Simon is a huge upgrade. This is a guy that's going to go top 3 in the draft. Again, we talk about rolling the clips. There's a couple things I was wrong on. Tremendous, like I was so wrong. And there's some things I will argue very deeply that I was incredibly right on. Arvell Reese, I was very on that in the very, very beginning. And Jeremiah Love, I think those are two things that I was incredibly bullish on. So I think Arvell Reese is a huge upgrade. Obviously having Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith this weekend would be a humongous plus. I would love to travel to Ann Arbor with those guys on the bus ready to play, not in tracksuits. Like, it's kind of like Rip and Prism. We want the guys in uniforms, not the guys in tracksuits. If we're getting tracksuits, we don't want those. We need to avoid those. I don't want, shout out to Ross Blaylock, his Prism tracksuits, this dude running the 40 time. I don't want that. That's a defensive guy running the 40. I don't want that card on my Prism. Like, I want, the offensive player. I want Jeremiah Smith and Carnell. So hopefully it's no tracksuits this weekend. But if those guys play, that's a heck of a passing team. I know you've talked a lot recently about Derek Moore. I'm surprised he's actually not been up here like that. You've told me, again, obviously I don't keep close eye on it, but he's kind of flown up draft board. So it's going to be an interesting one. I certainly wish it was home. I certainly wish I was going to be in Columbus for it. On the road, that's a tough place to play. I've been there one time. It's if I have to say one nice thing about the team up north today, I'll tell you, like, that stadium's incredible. It's huge. It's there's a reason it's the biggest stadium in the world. It's crazy. So yeah, nervous. I mean, I'm honestly ready for like Sunday, because like not only is Black Friday the biggest day of the year for us, and like Thursday's obviously Thanksgiving, but like Saturday, like it's not even fun. Like, if you really know like someone that's been a part of it, like it's just painful. Like, I don't get a lot of sleep. Like, it's all you think about. Like, then you like. I'm nervous during the game, and like I hate to be around like people that talk in absolutes for the game. I'm very not that way. Like, Ohio State's definitely gonna win. They're definitely gonna lose. Like, like I don't talk like that around the game. Like, I don't bet on it a lot. Like, I'm pretty like right down the middle. Like, so when people are like, oh man, that's great, like, and you watch with like novices and like people that talk in absolutes, I can't even, like, it's insufferable. I'm miserable during the game. Miserable. Like, my phone's on silent. It's on do not disturb. Like, it is. I am as focused for that as I am anything. Like, I'm more locked in for that than most things for the year. So, man, I look back on one quick story. Like, you look back on like what they've taken away from us. Last year being a regular win, years before all having asterisks for the cheating scandal. But if you look at some of the things they've taken away, like CJ Stroud beats Michigan. I think it was the first year it was the second year, it was 2022. The year they had won in Columbus. They beat the streak with Hutchinson and Ajabo in Michigan in the snow, and then beat us in Columbus. That's where all like they're pointing on the sidelines. The whole team's aware. Again, we could do a whole segment on that. But Stroud was going to win the Heisman Trophy that year. Like, that was the year Stroud was going to win the Heisman Trophy. Doesn't beat Michigan, doesn't win the Heisman Trophy, doesn't go to the Big Ten Championship, doesn't go to, doesn't end up winning. I just look at that now, and it's like, I think any Michigan fan will tell you, like, that's why this one is so special. We can take everything away from them. If Ohio State loses this game, they're going to the playoffs. It's a lock. The team has one loss. They're going. They might not get a bye. They probably will. They may not get a bye. Either way, they'll still go. If we beat Michigan, bro, they're going to the Poinsettia Bowl. They're going home. The season's all wrap. enjoy, the Tire Bowl, the steak. I don't know what, it could be the Barstool Sports Bowl. Maybe Portnoy will sponsor it for Bryce and the guys. But you just end all hopes and dreams. And like for the rivalry, what it means, man, playing for something. I wish they were 0-1,000,000. I never want them to win a game, but I definitely don't want them to win this weekend. So, Saturday, God.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You're gonna be hands crossed, locked in, 6 inches away from.
Oh God, I'm gonna be on the couch in the corner, just like this, just the whole time.
See, I'm locked in. I stand right in front of the screen when I'm stressed.
Oh, that's diabolical.
Oh
God.
yeah.
That's diabolical. Just like this, phone down next to just chilling. Doesn't not talking like people. Hey man, like, don't, you got nothing. We'll talk after. 11:45, like, and then the pregame hype comes on. They're like, Ohio State, Michigan, the greatest rivalry in sport. The tradition. Oh, dude, if you talk, we're restarting it. Wait till Ohio State shares the trailer. I might share it 1,000 times. I might create burner accounts to retweet it. Like, inject it into my veins. Man,
I respect it.
But listen, if we come on here next week and Ohio State loses, we might cancel.
I was just gonna say we might not have an episode.
we might take a week off. Can't do it.
Well, I'm hoping for the best, but a couple other games that I'm looking forward to. Especially we get some games on Friday, which is fun. We get the Egg Bowl. I'm cheering for Mississippi State. Who knows what's gonna happen with Lane Kiffin? Georgia Tech. That should be fun. Texas A&M and Texas, another fun one, and then Arizona State. Both teams are 8-3. I like that.
Some good games on Friday. That's a respectable. Slate there. There's some games. I mean, Georgia Tech beating Georgia this late in the season would definitely make the last the playoff a very interesting case there. That's a big win to end the season on for Georgia Tech. Texas. Does Texas have an outside shot at 9-3 or whatever they would be if they beat A&M? Indiana beats Purdue. They're going to lock up one of the 2 title game spots. Mississippi State and Ole Miss again does a 2-loss Ole Miss team with some of the uncertainty around Lane. Lost the last game of the year in a rivalry game with 2 losses. Does that murky the waters for Ole Miss? As one of those last couple spots, it definitely puts them in that conversation. I think they're 6 now. Definitely puts them in that conversation. I think we're going to get this rivalry weekend, like, you're going to get some good football. Expect chaos. Like, it always happens. And I'll never forget it. The first time I ever went to Ohio State, Michigan, first time I'd ever been in my entire life, was the year my wife and I started dating. It was 2013. It was the first time Urban went to Ann Arbor. It was like 42-41. Ohio State was undefeated at that point. Bowl ineligible. It's the year Notre Dame got smacked by Alabama when Ohio State was on probation for Tattoo Gate. And Michigan went for 2. I think it was Devin Gardner on the 40 seconds left. They score. They go for 2. I think Tyvis Powell intercepts it in the end zone. We're driving home, and I stop at a gas station, and I remember listening to the radio for the kick 6, where Chris Davis takes back the 106-yard kickoff. I was at a gas station listening to that. This is before YouTube TV or Hulu on your phone. So I'm listening to the kick 6 in a gas station and just outside of Ann Arbor, watching, that was probably one of the greatest college football plays in the last 25 years, last 50 years. And I remember listening to it on the radio. So hopefully we get some more, electric stuff like that this weekend. Just ideally more in Ohio State's favor. I know that had nothing to do with us, but need some OSU magic.
Yeah. No, Friday's going to be great. Remember, Georgia Tech last year went to 8 overtimes. So might we get another thriller? Enjoy a ham sandwich, why don't you, on Friday. On Saturday, also, Oregon UW. Oregon's not out of the clear. I know UW, or not the real UW, University of Washington.
Yeah, they didn't win that game. They didn't win the rights to that.
But LSU OU, another good game. Vandy Tennessee, Vandy 2-turn. Bama Auburn, Miami Pitt. That's an interesting one. I don't know how the ACC is going to shake out, but There's like a lot of different combinations. We won't find out until the final game is played, I don't think, for the ACC. But I know that one is pretty big.
Man, can't wait to hopefully recap it next week. We'll see. We'll need to see what happens Saturday at noon in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Real quick, a couple quick hitters. Value box guy of the week. Who we looking at real quick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dallas Wilson, Florida receiver out of this new Bowman set. He was injured entering the year, but like in preseason fall camp, they were like, "This kid's the real deal." He was injured, comes back versus Texas, like 160 and 2 touchdowns, and then gets hurt again. He's shut down for the season. I think he can still redshirt, but just one of those guys. I think he's got a high floor when it comes to his autos, and not a lot of people might be familiar with him. So just one of those like, hey, you see his auto in a value box for a couple bucks, and it's a nice
the only caveat I have to this, the only reason, I know we talked about this before, I didn't say anything at the time because I want to hear why you were thinking about this. You know, the one reason I think this guy might never end up in a value box?
Why?
Because his photo looks like an image variation.
Okay.
And I think naturally, because of the photo, it'll get a dealer to question if it's a variation and look it up. I don't think it has anything to do with the talent. I think it's because it looks like it's an image variation, because the photos, like him holding I don't know. I'm not a Florida guy, but like holding up the
I don't know
Florida glove up.
I
mean, I would have thought it was LSU, but I mean, because I think I've seen Brian Kelly do that with some of his like cringy recruit videos. But he's in a Florida uniform, so to me, because it is a variation type looking auto, I think I struggle with that from the value box. It definitely could do well. Like an orange auto does $175, right? So there's definitely some potential with his stuff. Like this is a big name. But yeah, it's again, I think there might be an opportunity to buy him. I just think you might have to wait a little bit until maybe, Bowman's best comes out and Chrome, dies down a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Cool image. I don't know what this means for Florida, so
yeah,
I would think Louisville or LSU.
100%. Would love for a Gator alum to educate us on that. Real quick, ham or turkey?
Ham, easy. Next question.
Easy answer. Great answer. Favorite side dish for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm a stuffing guy. Some people call it dressing. The South, or maybe it's I don't know. It's different. It's the same. I don't know. It's stuffing.
Okay, stuffing. Pass on that. Where do you rank Thanksgiving? Is it a top 2 holiday of the year?
Yes, and it's not 2.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
These are insane
and
takes.
Favorite dessert? Pumpkin pie.
Beyond overrated.
I'll go Mel Kiper with it, and I'll eat it every day. I'll throw all the whipped cream.
Beyond overrated. Your takes are lunacy. Thursday Thanksgiving games or Friday college football games?
Friday college football.
Guy knows ball. That's it. I mean, that's how you end. Last question. Score prediction in Ann Arbor, Ohio State, Michigan.
Oh, let's go 27-10.
I actually don't mind. I actually don't hate that. I don't love the idea. I'm very intrigued by the mental hurdle with the Michigan thing for Day. So I think, like, does Day kick field goals and an opportunity against a team that they missed 2 30-yarders or less last year in, and it honestly cost them the game. Missed 2 inside of 30 yards. Like, I look at that and I say with the high-powered offense that Ohio State has, assuming at least Jeremiah plays, I feel better. If I'm from what I've heard, I don't feel like Carnell's going to play. I feel like it will be Jeremiah. Especially if Jeremiah plays, do you take that high-powered offense, go 4 wide, and run that in a close situation where you can take points? It's just such a mental hurdle for Day, so I don't love the field goals. So I think give me 28-17. I think 17 is the number. I think 28-17 is the number.
Okay.
So
that might be the most points they've given up all year then.
17 would be, yeah. I think Illinois scored 14 or 17. Ohio State's given up 9 touchdowns all year. 5 of them have been in the third quarter, 2 minutes or later. So I'm really hoping that trend continues. Like, again, trends, rankings, everything goes out the window. So we'll see. But Illinois scored 16 points, most points given up all year by Ohio State's defense.
Yeah.
Big game. We'll see. See you
Yep.
next week. All right. Shout out to Geoff for coming on the pod, giving us so much time and knowledge. And shout out to my guy, Gabe, for once again another stock watch. Hopefully, we've got a fun one next week, and we can get some Buckeyes on the stock up list. Hopefully, after a big W in Ann Arbor, Michigan this weekend. So we'll see. Nervous as all can be, but man, I'm ready. All right, latest launch. We got some product shopping this week. Nothing super insane, to be honest. Not as much. I think some products are coming very, very soon. You're not far from Prism Draft. You're not far from Bowman. Bowman's Best in the collegiate football space. Obviously, those are huge for us. So excited to see what those have to offer. But you've got Leaf Metal Women of Sport. You've got Upper Deck Ingrained Icons Hockey. Ingrained's always been a fun one for us. Mosaic No Huddle Football and Minecraft Special Edition. So honestly, one of the smaller release weeks in some time. I did see, while we're talking about latest launch and some releases, I did see Topps is doing a release with Bape. I saw this got announced earlier this week. I thought this was really cool. I actually had some wrestling collectors reach out to us and say how cool they thought this was. I was never big into, never got super deep into like clothing and that part of culture. It was just never something I was super interested in as a kid. So I didn't realize, like, I've known about Bape, but understanding it through the lens of people that are wrestling collectors and were big into Bape has been cool to kind of learn about. So I think this is something I think this is going to do really, really well. I know they've done the crossover series with Travis Scott in the past, and that obviously has done well. But I think this will be one that Topps does pretty well. And again, Topps' ability to collaborate across sports and culture and athletes is second to none. So stuff like this is cool now, but this is just the beginning. Like if we're going to sit here and pretend that Topps is not going to continue to lean into some of their partnerships and their relationships, it would just be foolish. And it's great. I think it brings so much attention to the market, the amount of eyes it brings in that of people that knew nothing about it. That's why I think Fanatics Fest is such a big deal, is because for us card collectors, it's such a big thing for cards, right? It's one of the best card shows in the world. And then you bring in the culture and the athletes and the interactions and activations that you have there. There's nothing in the world like it. So to be a part of it, man, what a cool opportunity as someone who is so deep and invested into sports cards. And Topps is like, hey, we're going to do all of these things to bring more attention and to try to 10x the hobby. Michael Rubin, again, we talked about it before, but it's very open, wanted to 10x the space. These are things that help 10x that space. This is what helps bring attention to the market. It's innovations, it's relationships, it's partnerships, and Topps is clearly at the forefront of this, but this is just the beginning. This is, they don't have the NFL licensing yet. I think we're gonna, you're seeing some of it now as they've gotten activations as they've gotten licensing and they've started to do more and more, but it's still early in the game. Topps is still, just really getting their feet wet. So excited to, see more of these big partnerships and, ultimately some of the collaborations they're going to have with brands for new products. I think is going to be cool and exciting. So yeah, exciting times now, busy couple weeks ahead, but man, it's going to be a lot of fun. So more content coming next week. Hopefully, again, fingers crossed, Buckeyes get a big dub and we can highlight that next week. But hope everybody has a very safe and blessed Thanksgiving. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace, guys.